So, Mr. Jones has messed up again. I mentioned in my last video that the panels on the roof were slightly raised where they come to the gable end. Obviously I should have addressed this before I nailed them down, but I wanted to get it complete. I wanted to have it complete yesterday because we had people coming to the house. So I just put them down thinking I'll do something about it afterwards. So far I've tried using a saw. I've tried using a drill with an old bit. We've got chisel, old screwdriver, hammer, and even a pointing tool. And nothing has shifted the excess stone and cement that's up there. So now I've resorted to a hammer drill, a big power hammer drill, and I'm trying to remove it with that. But it's very difficult now to get this flat, and I know the Tapco tiles will look terrible with that slope. So I'm going to get back to it, but I wasted a whole lot of time. Okay, it's back to the hammer drill on an old bit and try to see if I can basically gouge this out. Well, definitely not the way I intended to do it. I've had to remove the two offending bricks. I can trim them down and re-mortar them in later. But at least now my roof is almost flat. Well, I just checked, and with the boards pushed down into place, they're pretty accurate now. So to hold them down, I'm going to use some Hammerfix N6 by 60s. Put those in so they secure the wood into the gable end, and that should be the end of this end. But of course I've got the same problem at the other end of the building. In fact, I think it's worse over there. So I'll get on and do this quickly. As you can see behind me, the small job has become a far bigger job, having to remove bricks in order to get this flat. So I'm going to need to mix up some mortar and fill that in. And in my original occupation as an engineer at sea, I would call it a shame plate, which we use to cover any horrible pipe work or horrible cable runs. Well, I'm going to need the equivalent in wood on my garage. Okay, as you can see, the wood still isn't exactly flat, and that's because it's now out of shape because it's been sitting like that. So I'm going to need to put a bracket on the top now to pull it in line so I don't have a horrible edge. This job is growing arms and legs. Okay, I'm going to put this plate, which I just flattened, to keep it straight. So when Mrs. Jones comes home, she won't just see the only thing I've done is damage the wall. At least the roof may be a bit straighter. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Okay, I think I'm going to do the same with the next one up to bring that exactly in line, because that seems to work. Well, it wasn't a pretty way to achieve what I wanted, but it's nice and flat and straight, and it just means I need to mix up some mortar and put some boards up. So at least it looks as if I've done something before Mrs. Jones comes home. I'm going to have a cup of tea now, and it's guaranteed that as soon as I sit down, she'll arrive and she'll think I've been just sitting down all afternoon. Anyway, I'm going to risk it. Well, I managed to get my cup of tea before Mrs. Jones came home, so that's good. And it's beautiful afternoon, September, but lovely warm afternoon sun. But you can see behind me I've got the same problem at this end. The gable end is higher than the beams, so it tilts up, and I've got the added complexity here of the hazelnut tree. I think hazelnut trees are quite intelligent, you know. I pruned this one back really hard in the autumn time, so hard that in fact Mrs. Jones said, you're going to kill it, there'll be nothing left of it. But it got its own back on me. It didn't produce any hazelnuts, but it did grow to pretty much the size it was before I pruned it. So quite incredible growth. And of course, It's going to have to be cut back, otherwise it's going to shade my solar panels. So I need to do a little bit of pruning now, just so I can try and flatten out this piece of roof, and hopefully I won't make such a pig's guts of this one. Okay, let's get my spirit level and see how bad this one is. Well, to add to my perfect DIY day, the battery went flat in my microphone. But just to basically what I was saying, I removed the bricks from the gable end. I got spirit level up there, checked it, lovely and flat. And at that moment, Mrs. Jones returned. I decided it was time to come down off the ladder and enjoy a lovely cold beer sitting in the early evening sun.